you've recently been in a car accident, there's a number of questions that come to mind. As a Clearwater personal injury attorney, I'm often asked a number of questions at a sign-up, and today I have a former client of mine, Jason, who's going to kind of take you through his experience working with my law firm and some of the questions that came up when he first hired me as an attorney. Jason?
I can recall coming in for an initial consultation. I had many questions that were flowing through my head at that time. It's a time of tragedy, and I wanted to get answers. I really wanted to know first and foremost, what was the process of resolving my claim? How did it start, and essentially what were the steps that needed to be taken?
No two cases are the same. There's several ground rules to every case, and there's a number of criteria that are involved in valuing how much a case is actually worth. For my job is to maximize the recovery for my client, but at the same time ensure that they're getting good medical treatment with doctors that I would want to see myself or my family to see. Now, when you ask what's the process, the first process is discovering how much insurance there is involved in the case, and at the same time investigating the scene of the accident, looking for witnesses, trying to lock down all the areas that we could wind up getting ourselves hung up on if we have to try the case, if we have to litigate the case. And one of those is, the evidence. We want to get to the accident scene right afterwards if possible, especially if there's a good amount of property damage, investigate the cars that are involved, and meet the witnesses while the facts are made fresh in their head. Then learn how much coverage there is involved, as well as your injuries. Once we know what the coverage is and your injuries, we can start to lay out a game plan as to how we're going to approach the insurance company. We're not here to dictate medical treatment, okay? In fact, I would prefer to stay out of it. You treat where you want to treat, preferably with good licensed physicians, and we'll tell you who we think some of the better physicians are, but we leave that up to you as the consumer, as the victim, if you will. But it remains a question of how much insurance there is involved in the case, who the players are in the case, as to what we're going to do next. And generally we send a demand as quickly as we possibly can in the case to the insurance company, at least letting them know what your injuries are before we want to set the reserves in the case. In reserves, that means the insurance adjuster has a certain amount of value allocated towards this case. When they realize that there are significant injuries, an MRI showing positive findings, diagnoses issued by a very good licensed physician that correlate the diagnostic findings, then we can start to lay out the groundwork with the insurance company, which we did in your case. And based on that, that's how we were able to get a fruitful recovery. It's by working the insurance company. If a volume firm, the client never meets the lawyer. Client may have one correspondence fired off to the insurance company on their behalf by a paralegal or case manager. If you remember, we sent out no less than 5 letters in your case. Every week there was something new to the insurance adjuster, acting as if this is the only case in our office. Because you want them to second guess. You want them to scrutinize the case. You want them to look closely and possibly bring in other line adjusters into the claim. Thank you, Jason.